Throwing a missile at police is another method of police assault. Yes, Section 60 of the Crimes Act covers all sorts of ways of assaulting the police. And in the previous parts, I discussed types of assaults, including biting. But the section also includes stalking, harassing, intimidating, as well as throwing a missile at police. In the Hunter Valley, it's rare to hear about a case that involves missiles being thrown at police, but they do happen. I want to say when we do hear about them, it's usually when there's some sort of rioting type behaviour. For example, in April 2024, there was a knife attack at a church in Sydney. Afterwards, there was a riot where we saw, via the news stories, people jumping on police cars and throwing objects. So it's understandable you might assume the missile is usually a rock. However, a missile really can be any item. Here's an example from Newcastle Local Court. It's late August 2024, and about an hour after court starts on this Friday morning, the magistrate calls for one of the fresh custodies waiting in the cells below to be brought up. The defendant I will call Todd. It's not his real name. Todd is maybe 30s, his age isn't said out loud. He enters via a side door with two correctional officers who lead him into the glass enclosed dock at the side of the courtroom. Todd was arrested on the Thursday and police have refused bail, therefore making him one of today's fresh custodies. Todd is asking the court to grant bail. So what allegedly happened, do you ask? At about 9:30 the day before, Todd has entered a supermarket at Adamstown, where he allegedly stole grocery items. So there's the larceny charge, which is Section 177 of the Crimes Act. By the way, Adamstown is a suburb in Newcastle. He allegedly left without paying, which caught the attention of the deli manager who called out to Todd. Todd allegedly responded with a verbal threat, so there's the stalk and intimidation charge. That's Section 13 of the Crimes, Domestic and Personal Violence Act 2007, and we're in New South Wales, of course. Todd leaves on a green bike with the allegedly stolen groceries. Police are cruising around Adamstown at the time and spot Todd, who's riding the green bike, without a helmet. At this stage, the police are not aware of the alleged incident in the supermarket, so it's the helmet that's drawn their attention to Todd. They cruise up beside Todd on his green bike and do the sirens, requesting him to stop. Todd allegedly responds with F words, C words, and eat this. By the way, the magistrate says the alleged words out loud. If it's your first time in the gallery, yes, you will hear the magistrate say the F and the C words very clearly. So after Todd allegedly says, eat this, to the cops, he allegedly throws the groceries, which splatter across the windscreen of the police car. Yes, the missile thrown at police is allegedly the groceries. Blinded by the splattered groceries, and while attempting to clear the windscreen using the windscreen wipers, the police almost crash into parked cars, as well as almost hitting Todd on the green bike. It's explained Todd somehow trips over the green bike and is then arrested. So after we hear the story about the splattered groceries, the rest of the discussion is about whether the court will grant bail. The court refuses bail in the end. I'm going to conclude and say no missiles should be thrown at anyone while they're doing their job. It's pretty simple. Let's refrain from throwing groceries at people. By the way, for the rest of us, the charge would likely fall under assault if we had a missile thrown at us, as the police assault section doesn't apply to civilians. Public information about throwing missiles at people, not just police, can be tricky to find. However, it's out there, you just have to work for the information.